Hi, this is the voice of Heidie Calero with another economic capsule on the Puerto Rico economy. Today's topic is especially important because as we speak, there is a large protest of teachers, of government employees, including policemen and firemen, among others, who are right now arguing and protesting in front of the Fortaleza, the governor's mansion, because they want better working conditions, they want higher salaries, and of course they want dignified pensions for their retirement in their old age. So what is really the public policy, the public economic policy? And it is right now dependent on federal funds. The first graph that I'm depicting for you is the consolidated Commonwealth budget that includes the general fund as well as the public corporations. And as of 2022, the consolidated budget amounted to $26.8 billion. That's a lot of zeros next to that decimal point. And in 2019, it used to be $24.5 billion. So in this span of these 3 additional fiscal years, Puerto Rico has gained or has received $2 billion additional in terms of its budget. And part of that is going to be, as you see there, the red segment of those columns. It's that dependence on federal funds. $8.4 billion really contribute to that consolidated Commonwealth budget in 2022, and it's been the same for the past years. So a third of our fiscal budget depends on something that is out of control. It's dependent on US Congress and on the President of the United States. How can you really continue to depend just on those federal funds to make a difference in Puerto Rico? And we will really pass judgment on whether they are really contributing to economic growth. The next graph is the consolidated budget of the largest agency and department in Puerto Rico's budget and government, and that's the Department of Education. As you see there, again, from 2019, when it had a budget of $2.3 billion, out of that, 41%, or about $900 million, for federal funds. Let's move forward to 2022. Now we have a $4.4 billion. That's a lot of zeros next to that decimal point. And you have $2 billion from $900 million. Now you have $2,000 million in federal funds, like 46% of that budget for education. And you'll see that the results are not exactly exacting in terms of proficiency. Well, again, may I remind you that our capsule today is focusing on that economic policy based on federal funds. I showed you the consolidated budget. I showed you the largest department in the Commonwealth, the Department of Education, and they are both dependent from 30% for the consolidated to almost 46% for the Department of Education, funds that we do not control. Let's look then at the next challenge and why I say that we really must challenge our administration, our legislature, our secretaries of economic development, of health, of tourism, all of those, because we have anemic growth projections. As you see in this graph, these are the forecast of projections that the Puerto Rico Fiscal and Oversight Board, better known as the PROMESA board, made back in April of 2021. Those are the blue bars, the blue columns that you see there from 2022 through 2031. Whatever is below that horizontal line is negative growth. And then the orange columns are what was recently divulged in the new fiscal plan as of January 27 fiscal year of 2022. And as you see there, these are economic growth rates which really are baffling to some extent, because we saw before so many resources that the government is receiving, and yet we have these anemic growth forecasts. Some of them unexplainable, because from 2021, when it said, the board said, oh, Puerto Rico is going to grow only 0.6% real growth. Now it says, oh, it's going to grow 2.6%. Thereafter, it said, well, in 2021, that for 2023, we would have a negative growth of negative 0.9%, as you see there in the blue column. But now they've said, they've revised that forecast, and they say, no, it's going to be 0.9% growth, but yet the recession comes in 2024. The only thing we did was kick the can forward in terms of the use of these federal funds. And that's after a deluge of federal funds coming to the island. Where are they manifesting here in these rachitic and anemic economic growth? And we're still back to 2029 through 2031, we have negative growth rates. And Puerto Rico is just about to make effective the public debt adjustment plan that Judge Taylor Swain just approved. And then the final graph that I'm depicting for you is this timeline, because the PROMESA board has said, well, Puerto Rico's growth is dependent on really engaging and implementing structural reforms. 4 critical reforms, they say, and here's the timeline. They've said for the welfare reform, that's the earned income tax credit plus the SNAP, making the participants also work. That would kick in 2025, and it would contribute 0.15% to the growth rate of Puerto Rico's economic growth, and that's nothing. It's 0.15% in 3 years down the road. Nothing now. Then the next 2 reforms are the ease of doing business, and you don't see it there, but it's 0.3% contributing to economic growth, and the energy reform contributing the same, 0.3% growth. It's not a mistake. It's not 3%, it's 0.3% contributing to economic growth. And then fast forward to the last and most important structural reform, educational reform from kindergarten to grade 12. And as you see there, it's no mistake. It's what will it contribute? 0.01%. And when will it kick in? 2037. I mean, all these years, the next 15 years are lost for Puerto Rico, lost generations. But it's going to contribute in 2037 if we engage in all these painful structural reforms, only 0.01%. So it's nothing. And if we go forward to from 2037 to 2051, they say, well, it will contribute a little bit more, 0.15%. Yes, you are hearing me correctly, 0.15% growth. Do you think Puerto Rico has any incentive in engaging in all these very painful structural reforms? We need to change this paradigm. Public economic policy cannot be dependent only on federal funds that we do not control, and certainly these structural reforms must contribute much more to economic growth, and these economic projections should be changed totally. We need an economic plan that will turn Puerto Rico around as it did back in the 1960s and regain 3 to 4% real economic growth. Don't forget, those who like our economic capsules, to give us a like and to subscribe to the voice of Heidie Calero. Until then, the next capsule, don't forget, the economy is all of us. Thank you.